Hey, what's up, y'all? Hope y'all had a good holiday season with, Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's. Hope everybody had a good, safe one. Spent time with the family. Kept your distance and all that other stuff. I do have an update for you guys on the OBS. I actually removed the 4L80 off of it. I also pulled the holley system off of it as well. What I ended up doing is I had a 4L60 laying around that I installed with that motor. I also have a stock harness that I'm going to rework to make standalone, and I have a stock PCM that I'm going to make work with that standalone system. The holley system, the 4L80, are going to go in the 81C10. I have a 6.0 laying around that I need to freshen up. It LQ4, what I'm going to end up doing with that one is dropping all that together. Once I have the parts for the whole swap, I'll start that one, of course, once I finish the OBS. For the OBS, what I need to do is rework the harness, mess with that PCM. I also need to order the radiator, the coolant hoses. I need to get the suspension for it redone. I don't know how long I want to go with it. I plan to lower it a little bit. It's on stock wheels now, so kind of want to switch it up a little bit. And once I get that lined out, I do need to move the motor mounts on that OBS. They're the slider ones. I need to move the motor back some. The transmission slip yoke for the drive shaft sticks out too far. I'm not really too comfortable with it. I have the room to move it backwards, so that's what I'm going to plan on doing here within this next couple weeks or so. And then what I'm going to end up doing is, like I said, working that harness and then that PCM, and then I'll get the suspension for it, the drop kit, and then figure out something with wheels. And then from that, I should be able to at least start that truck, driving around, move it, and go get it tuned. But that's about all I've done so far with it. I'll roll the clip that I have here on this 93 drivetrain install. So it's maiden season, and what we're gonna do is put this Circle D converter. It's got a 3200 stall in it. It is a stock rebuilt 4L80E, and then the 4.8 that I put together for this thing. Finally was able to pick up some of these pieces and kind of put it together, so I'm just gonna make sure everything lines up. I did a little bit of research as far as the flywheel to converter. You can get the spacer do all that, or you can get them to do the bolt pattern, and then for this flywheel, so you can use the stock converter for it. So it shouldn't be a problem. It should match up, but I'll have to check clearance and all that when the time comes. But other than that, yeah, let's put this thing together. So check it out. So this is my problem. So now what I have to do is put the transmission and motor. Doesn't make any sense. Put the transmission and motor. This is your motor. This is your transmission. I don't know what I was thinking. But what I have to do is obviously put this in the truck. And normally what I do is, because I don't have the right tools for it, which is the biggest thing, is having the right tools for the job. If you're going to continue to do something like this, which I need to invest in, is the proper tools. Some of the proper tools. I have some stuff, but I don't have a lot. But they sell a hoist system that allows you to change the angle of how this lift situation works out. So you can turn it and it'll actually move the lift point further towards the front of the motor, or you can turn it the opposite way and it'll move it further towards the back of the motor, towards the transmission. And that thing is very useful, because what happens is when you go to put this into the motor or the cab or frame or whatever you're doing, you can change that angle as you're working. You can lift it entirely as one, or what you can do is when you go get ready to drop it, you can rotate that and you can tilt that transmission down and wiggle it into the chassis or frame or body, whatever you want to call it. But I don't have that. So what I do is I get me a ratchet strap and I strap this from the end of the transmission to the lifting point here. And what that does is it keeps it steady up until I get ready to drop it in. I put a jack underneath the transmission and I start to lower it. Forgot I have the Bluetooth connected to the speaker. But what I do is I put a jack underneath it, and as I start to lower it, I use the jack to hold that transmission up. This is just to lift it and put it in place. So check it out. So what I was able to do tonight was to do the drivetrain, put that in place. I was able to put the 4L80 and the 4.8 in the chassis. This is Clutch. He is the original boxer that I've owned, and he's about 6 years old. He is the most spoiled, needy, lazy, not so much expensive anymore, but he's a good dog. He just wants attention. But like I said, I was able to put the drivetrain in. The transmission actually mounted up to the original location with the original mount. I don't have a transmission mount just yet. I have the one that came with the stock truck. I may figure out a way to run that one. I can't find it. I've got a pile of junk back here. So I need to find that and see if that will fit. See if I can utilize that. Something I don't have to spend money on. And then I have to go back in and finish wiring this thing. I originally tied it into the original harness, but what I end up doing is tying it back into that harness, but I need to clean up a lot of that stuff. So that is a later time. It's getting late. It's getting dark. So I've got to roll everything into the garage and close up shop. I don't like working through the night because of the fact that I have neighbors and we get along pretty good. Actually, we get along very good. So I don't want to bother them or upset them. So I try to keep things going on just throughout the day. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's all I got on the 93. Appreciate y'all checking it out. I've got some things, like I said, lined up for the 81 C10. I've done some suspension. I've done some wheels on it. I've lowered it a little bit. Put all new suspension on it. I've got the exhaust from the long tubes back redone. The reducers, the welds they were pretty bad. They leaked. They weren't welded all the way through, and I didn't do any of that work. I had somebody here locally do it. I don't have the access to a tube bender. I don't have access to a lift, so I can get all that stuff worked underneath there. Something I would have liked to do, but right now I just don't have the time or the equipment to get all that done. But I did that to the 81 C10, and like I said, I plan to do that 6.0 swap and some things for it once I have everything lined out on it, and then I have everything lined out on the OBS as far as it running and maybe sent to paint. So my brother's been working on his 71 C10 as well. It's already LS swap. We changed the pan recently, and I think we're doing some harness work to it and getting it cleaned up, and of course, maybe do some coilovers, some wheels or suspension or something for it. So definitely for the goal this year was to create more content, keep you guys updated with what I got going on here. There's always something to do, between these cars and the ones I have in storage. So definitely we'll be bringing you guys more content. So appreciate y'all staying around and keeping up to date on this thing.